Hello and good day. The media many times uses the words democracy, as in this country is not democratic, or so on and so on. I'm talking mostly here about third world countries when they say that they are not democratic or any of these things. Democracies are different. You know that the democracy of the United States is different than the democracy of UK, United Kingdom, or the democracy of France, which is one of the oldest, still different. Democracy in Greece, wherever, the democracy is different because democracies has to evolve and had to evolve also, but they still evolving in their own way. That's why you cannot start your own ideas of democracy and just say it will be the best for the people, because they have to really get used to it, really get to understand it. Now, the peninsula, the Arabian Peninsula, claim they have democracy. Actually, they think that their democracy is more democratic than the democracies of the Western world. The main thing in the Western world is the freedom of speech, as I explained earlier, and how important it is then, and now how it is really abused by so many people, okay? Or so many, by agendas, by people who want politicians or groups of people or everything, or lobbyists and other things. Well, when the Arabian Peninsula is made actually of tribes. Now I'm talking about the Arabian Peninsula because it was not, and I mean like Saudi Arabia, for example, it was not occupied by a Western power. So this is very true in Saudi Arabia. It's also true in the other Northern African countries and even in Syria, and Iraq, where for the Bedouins who live outside of the big cities, and they have their own tribes. Okay, the tribes is more like a nation actually. So before the countries were established and other things, it was more like a nation. It has a head, a leader, and they even make their own customs, which are different than other tribes in the same area. So it's not. It's more like the states, in a way. Okay. The tribe is they have a leader. The leader is usually, inherited being a leader, and he is the only one that is called prince of the tribe. They don't call the sheikh, sheikh is just excessive. Actually, sheikh more like religious leader, but the religious leader cannot be the leader of the tribe. Okay, and so there is a prince. They call a prince. Now his brothers cannot be called princes. His father, his children, they are not called prince. His sister or his daughter cannot be called princess. Just a prince. If someone is a girl would say, "I am married to the brother of the prince," because he's not a prince yet. Only the leader gets that, and I'm talking mostly about the western part of the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, there's also what we call the Haniya, which means that the judges are from that tribe, and they are not the same branch as the leaders. Okay, and the tribes actually are governed more by their own traditions and customs, actually more than the religion. And some customs and traditions are even contradicting the religion, and they do it. It's one of the things that Mohammed bin Abdulwahhab, the fought or the against, was because the customs and tradition at that time of the central part of the Arabian Peninsula evolved so much that they thought that women shouldn't inherit anything. So there were no inheritance women, although it was written 1400 years ago in the Quran that they do inherit, and that they do inherit sometimes, half than a male, sometimes exactly as a male, and sometimes even more than a male. It depends on their branch of the family, or on the how related they are to the dead person. So this is one of the things that he fought for. Nobody mentions that about Mohammed Abdulwahhab, that he fought for women's rights to inherit. Okay, so the customs and cultures and traditions, were more important than religion. I remember not too long ago, actually 50 years ago or something like that, it was not, the woman does not choose, nor has the right actually to refuse anybody who will marry her, you know. And the same thing goes for the son or the boy who wants to marry, you know. They, in some tribes, not all tribes though, some tribes. I remember that one guy, he was telling me that he wanted to marry from one of his second cousins or third cousins, and he said that he would like to see the girl before he go in with the marriage. And her father said, this is not our tradition. You marry the girl, that's it. You know, it's an arranged marriage. And he said, no, but I want to see her first before I decide, yeah. He said, well, you might change your mind. He said, no, I just want to see her. He said, this is not our tradition, the father said. And then the man said, well, Prophet Muhammad said that I must see her first. He said, tell you what, son, I don't have a daughter to marry. Get lost. Look for another one. And it's amazing how they change it according to tradition. Actually, even the girl can say no. She must say yes. Or if her father or her mother asks her, you want to marry this guy, she must say no if she doesn't want to. If she doesn't say anything, that means she said yes. She knows that. You know, everybody knows that. Even the girls. And that's actually in a hadith, it's said that silence means acceptance. So, let's go back a little bit. Now, the tradition is that the ruler is the head here, and he's a prince. And the rulers of that tribe becomes from his descendants or his brothers, you know, or anything like that. But not necessarily the eldest brother, you know. If the eldest brother is not liked or people don't have some things against him or so on, he can go to the second brother or to the ruler brother, you know, and so on and so on. And this is the way it had happened before, many times, you know. And people cannot choose. Actually, sometimes they do choose from the brothers, you know, but they cannot choose outside of the line of the ruler. Now, provided that ruler rules them according to the customs and traditions, not to stay away from it. If he is known to be someone who is not good with his people, that is, you know, then he will not be made the ruler of that tribe. And this is part of how the democracy in the Arabian Peninsula is done that way, you know. You know that the ruler, his legitimacy comes from treating his people equal and from trying to provide for them, protect them, another thing. And what a person wants more, what a family wants more than that. It's hard to explain because we grow up learning that this is how things are and this is how we accept it, you know. A leader, I don't care about what he does in his spare time. I don't care about what he smokes or drinks or other thing. That's between him and God, you know. But how he treats me and how he treats his people around him and how he provides for them and protect them, you know, this is the main thing to them. Now, this is what they call their own democracy, okay? And that's why you see that the people there in the Arabian Peninsula, mostly I'm talking about Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, you know. And if you go deep into Syria, the tribes in Syria, northeastern Syria, and in northern Iraq, and in the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt, you know, and in southern Egypt in the desert, and south of Libya and Algeria, you know, with the Tuaregs and all this. This is the same thing. It's the tribe that lead there, and this is democracy for them, and it's working the way they want it to work. It's hard to explain, really hard to explain, and it's some people might think that this is just an excuse. No, it's not an excuse. It's the way things are. You cannot. It's very, very hard to change the way things are, you know. And when you bring something that you think is better, it must be much, much, much better. You know, it's not just saying, well, you have the freedom of speech, and then you get into say what, you know. They already have the freedom of speech if they don't like the ruler for things he had done, not because of his color or his physical ability, whether short or tall or all these things, or fat, you know. No, you dislike the ruler for the things he has done, not for anything else. That is hard to explain, you know, but it needs a lot more time and to explain. But this is to the best of my ability. If I receive questions about it, maybe I'll go deeper into it. Thank you very much. Peace.